Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video. So I've already done the 5-day forecast, so you can find the video for the 5-day forecast on the homepage. Just scroll down the page a little bit, it's underneath the link ads, and also there's the written version. This takes up to Boxing Day, and it's going to be an unsettled Christmas. It's going to be mild on Christmas Day, very mild on Christmas Day, bit colder afterwards. The main thing I think is probably going to be the wind, both on Friday and a little bit more on Christmas Day, particularly for the north on Christmas Day. For all of us on Friday, but especially so for our north of Scotland, where the winds on Friday could be going up to 80 or 90 miles an hour. Very stormy up there, and generally widely around 30, 40 miles an hour on Friday. But if you want to know more about 5-day forecast anyway, do check it out and see what's happening. It's going to be an unsettled Christmas. We finished on Boxing Day, so I'm going to pick up the storyline now and run through today 10 first of all, which will take us beyond Christmas up towards the New Year. Of course, don't think we quite go to New Year's Eve with the update today to day 10. But once we've had a look at whether next week to 10 days, actually we will go on to the GFS Ensembles, the GFS, and we'll have a look at those. There's 21 members to look at. We're going to see what they're showing for the first days of the new year, and to see if there's any trends, maybe even any cold weather showing up. Certainly isn't going to be a cold Christmas. Thank you all that. What did you say about the ads? There's links to articles all over the pages. Have a browse through widgets and click through the links. If there's any articles that are interesting, you have this page website. Thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads most pages, which own no content, but you watch very closely again, it does help the page. So it's still got the link to the Christmas shop. I'm going to get rid of that, I think, on Christmas Eve. So you still can go to Amazon and do some shopping if you want to, but it's very late now. I'm not sure that delivery can be guaranteed. So the link is still there, but I won't be talking about that much more in the videos. But big thank you to everybody that did their Christmas shopping at Amazon via Gaz Weathervids. As ever, it was a huge success again this year. So very quickly, we're going to go through weather next week to 10 days. We're going to go up to day 10. And this is where we left things off with the GFS when we did the 5-day forecast. So this is Boxing Day, which is 120 hours away. And at that point, we bring down a cooler northwesterly flow across the country and starting to build high pressure in. So we said Boxing Day on 5-day forecast, we said we end the 5-day forecast period on Boxing Day, turning things colder and drier essentially. There could still be wintry showers for parts of Scotland. Otherwise, I think it will be a colder and drier day with fairly decent sunshine. Beyond that, we get this build, with this big build of pressure through the country. So 27, which is bank holiday, of course, shows things settling down. That's been quite cold air, so could well be chilly there, certainly with some night frost, maybe even some fog patches as well. 28th of December shows that high pressure dominating. That's Wednesday, 28th, high pressure well and truly in control. Getting quite cold under that high pressure, so we could have frost and fog. Also bringing some colder air down into Scandinavia next week as well. I know have people following us from Scandinavia have been a bit tearing their hair out about what's going on over Scandinavia at the moment in terms of the lack of cold weather and snow. You might get a bit of winter coming through there, I think, through next week. Up to Thursday 29th, that high pressure is still very much in control, dominating the weather. It's drifting back into Central Europe. That's where it was through much of December so far, of course, where it has been through much of December. And it's a pretty cold flow as well, I think. We're bringing the air in off the continent, so it's hardly going to be warm. A little bit milder for Scotland and Northern Ireland by that time, perhaps, but generally I think still quite cold and frosty on the 29th, and then up to the 30th, and then through to the 31st, which is New Year's Eve, so we get to day 10 with this update, last day of the year. We find the high pressure just repositioning a little bit. It's going slightly to the south then, so we begin to drag milder air back in from off the Atlantic. That might bring some milder conditions through into the start of the year. Notice these northerly winds are going down into eastern, particularly southeastern Europe. So a bit of cold winter in the southeast of Europe, Greece, Turkey. Sometimes the Balkans has had quite a cold winter so far. It looks like that's set to continue. You're on the colder side of the blocking, whereas the northwest of Europe generally on the milder side of the blocking. These are the forecast temperatures from the GFS model. This is Christmas Day. Looks a very, very mild day on Christmas Day. Temperatures widely into double figures. I think it will turn colder later across Scotland. I wouldn't rule out the chance of some wintry showers across northern Scotland by Christmas night. But overall, it's going to be another really mild Christmas Day. In fact, we're having a succession of mild Christmases at the moment. Our last cold one was 2010. That was a severely cold one with deep snow, of course, very memorable Christmas. So we had a lot of snow in 2010, but we have been suffering a bit since. It looks like there's going to be another pretty much snowless December to add to the previous 5, and also very mild Christmas as well. So temperatures widely up to around 10, 11, 12 degrees on Christmas Day. Some places will probably be higher than that. Wouldn't rule out 13, 14, maybe even 15 degrees into the upper 50s Fahrenheit. I'd be surprised if we set any records, but it is certainly going to be a very mild Christmas Day indeed. But by Boxing Day, things are turning colder. So these are the nighttime temperatures overnight, Christmas night to Boxing Day, and widely dropping down then into low single figures. Certainly for the north, there could be frost on Boxing Day morning. Boxing Day itself will be quite a cold day. These are actually average temperatures, really. So the north is at around 2 to 4. The south is at around 5 to 7. But it will feel much colder compared to Christmas Day. And then we go through to the night of Boxing Day night, and could be a widespread frost there. The temperatures being forecast go down to around 1, 2 degrees. That's certainly low enough for frost in rural areas. Holiday 27th, holiday Tuesday, I should say, December 27th, shows again quite a coldish day with temperatures of around 4, 5 or 6 degrees. Another frost then on Tuesday night, taking us into Wednesday morning. So then we go through to Wednesday itself, looks quite cold again, temperatures in low to mid single digits. Another widespread frost on Wednesday night into Thursday, and then another cold day away from Ireland and southwestern England. Another cold day on Thursday. There might be freezing fog in with this cold weather as well. Friday morning shows the frost more restricted towards the southeast. It's starting to turn milder, you'll notice, in the north and west, and that's the trend as we move towards the new year. So this is Friday 30th of December, forecast temperatures still in the southeast quite chilly at 5, 6, 7 degrees, but turning milder in the west. And by the time we get through to New Year's Eve, the start of New Year's Eve, it looks like we're pretty much frost-free then across the country. Although you only have to go over towards France and Holland to find the frost continuing. And this is a long way off, so it is possible that by the time we get to New Year, we might still be in a frosty scenario. Have to wait and see. So it looks like we get some cold weather after Christmas, albeit not snow, just frost and maybe some fog. That's with the GFS. Let's see if the ECMWF agrees. This is again picking things up on Boxing Day, where we finish the 5-day forecast. So cooler or colder and showery conditions on Boxing Day, and then on to holiday Tuesday, 27th December. Again, build this ridge of high pressure in across the country within cold air. That develops further to 1,040 millibars on Wednesday, 28th of December. Very intense area of high pressure setting up then. So again, that's within cold air. Frost and fog is to be expected, albeit mostly dry. High pressure is still around. Nothing's happening to stir things up on Thursday 29th, so expect further frost and fog there. And then we go through towards the new year, and the idea is still the same, really, to take that high pressure more into Central Europe, somewhere around the Alps, and begin to pull up the air from the southwest. So gradually the frost risk goes, and by the new year we're probably in a milder scenario, particularly so for Scotland and Northern Ireland. I think this could still be quite cold and frosty even on New Year's Eve down across the southeast of England, actually. So it's a very close run thing there as to whether we would keep it cold and frosty the new year or turn things milder, but it certainly looks a lot milder for Scotland. So very mild Christmas Day, yes, and then after Christmas, running up towards New Year, it looks like we get some colder, frostier, foggier conditions, possibly milder again by New Year's Day. Let's have a look at the GFS Ensemble members individually and see what they're showing for the opening days of January. We start with the control run, which used to be the operational run of the GFS. So this, what you're looking at just here, essentially used to be that, what we use for our videos every day at GFS. It's the operational run of the GFS is run at the highest resolution of all the members of the GFS ensembles. Every year the GFS model gets an upgrade, so what used to be the operational run becomes what they call the control run, if you like, and you get a new version of the GFS operational. So this is the GFS control. This is on the 1st of January. It's showing high pressure on New Year's Day out to the southwest of the country. Let's run through the first few days of January and see what it does with that high pressure. It just keeps it going across the country, so that'll be mostly dry. Could be frost and fog in with that, of course. Down in the east and southeast of Europe, we're putting down cold northerly winds again, so another blast of winter going in towards Greece and Turkey. Let's have a look at member number 1. This is ensemble member number 1. Again, we're going to start off on Christmas Day and what on New Year's Day, I should say. And what happens with this one, ensemble member number 1, is that we're bringing in westerly winds across the country for New Year's Day, which looks more unsettled and milder. That turns quite stormy then through the opening days of January. Wet and windy, quite cool conditions as well. You could get some snow perhaps with that one. This is ensemble member number 2. Again, we're starting off on New Year's Day and we're putting down a northerly wind for this. We've got high pressure quite a long way out into the Atlantic, putting down northerly winds, which could bring colder air and snow showers onto the eastern side. That doesn't last very long. The opening week of January turns milder with that westerly flow coming back, probably bringing rain to the north and the west. So a brief blast of colder air on New Year's Day, maybe with some snow showers, then quickly it's back to milder Atlantic-driven weather. This is ensemble member number 3. We show high pressure across the country then, and that high pressure fest just continues through the opening week of January, keeping it frosty and dry and cold. We probably have a big blast of winter in the east and southeast of Europe again, but we don't tap into that. This high pressure keeps that well at bay. Of course, it could be cold under the high pressure, but it's not proper snowy winter conditions like we're having in the southeast of Europe. Ensemble member number 4 for New Year's Day has us in a westerly flow. That looks quite mild, and as we run through the first week of January, generally it turns more unsettled and colder with the winds coming down from the northwest. That's a cyclonic polar maritime airstream, so it would be quite unsettled, and there would be snow up in the north as well. That's quite a cold one from ensemble member number 4. Ensemble member number 5 looks stormy on New Year's Day. Very wet and windy New Year's Day coming up there. And again, similar to number 4 actually, quite cyclonic and cold with the jet stream on a northwest-southeast trajectory. There could be some wintry conditions in there, especially so for the north. Quite unsettled and cold for the first week of January with ensemble member number 5. Ensemble member number 6 on New Year's Day has us in a westerly flow, and that continues through the first week of January. Wet and windy, not overly cold on that one. So far we haven't seen anything truly cold and wintry, I have to say. We go through to number 7. High pressure is over the top of the country on New Year's Day, and then it declines into Europe, allowing low pressure to come back in off the Atlantic, turning more unsettled with some rain moving in through that first week of January. Ensemble member number 8 shows high pressure over country on New Year's Day, cold, frosty and foggy. This one looks more interesting. That high pressure is going up towards Greenland through the first week of January, or certainly up towards the northern part of the Atlantic, and it's pulling the winds into the east. That looks very cold and wintry. There'd be snow showers coming down with that option. It's the only one that is truly wintry that we've seen so far. Looks a bit improbable, I would have thought, but ensemble member number 8 is definitely a cold and wintry scenario through the first week of January. This is number 9. We've got high pressure over country, probably frosty and foggy for New Year's Day. With this one, where do we take that high pressure? We just generally keep it around the country, so lots of dry weather, frosty and fairly cold, albeit the true Arctic winter cold is over in the east and southeast of Europe once again with ensemble member number 9. So the split seems to be between either high pressure dominating through the first week of January, having quite a lot of cold and frosty weather, or being unsettled and Atlantic driven. There's just that one member so far. We're up to number 10, of course. So far, it's just that one member, number 8, but looks truly wintry. This is Ensemble member number 10. That just shows high pressure around the country again, so lots of dry weather, frost, and potentially some fog with that one. Number 11 has high pressure out to the southwest. We're bringing in this west to northwesterly flow on New Year's Day, and then it just turns more unsettled through the first week of January. Looks like it's going stormy then by the 6th of January as far as we can go. Number 12 on New Year's Day has high pressure coming in off, low pressure I should say, coming in off the Atlantic. That slips southwards and we finish up with high pressure back in over the country, so that's dry, frosty and cold there through the first week of January, but not Arctic winter conditions. This is number 13, and we've got low pressure to the east coast of Scotland on New Year's Day, with this one pulling down colder winds from the north. That dies into Europe, and then we get high pressure around the country. So again, it's another one that's mostly dry, frosty, cold. This one's close to pulling in some very cold air from Central Europe. That cold air is through Germany and down into France. It's very close to dragging that in from the east, but just not quite there. It's mostly dry, frosty and cold with Ensemble member number 13. Number 14 shows the high pressure over country on New Year's Day, and then we run through the first week of January. Eventually breaks that down. It takes a long time to do so, but by the 6th we're into an Atlantic fairly wet flow there with number 14. Number 15 for New Year's Day has us in a westerly flow, bringing showers in across the country. Turns stormy on the 2nd of January. Those stormy conditions continue through the first week of January. Quite cold with that one as well. The jet stream is on a little bit of a northwest-southeast trajectory there, so it could be wintry at times up in the north. The main thing would be stormy winds. Ensemble member number 16 has us in a cyclonic and quite cold northwesterly flow for New Year's Day. That gets out of the way, and then we have high pressure sitting to the southwest, so that one's fairly mild and Atlantic driven through the first week of January. Number 17 looks stormy on New Year's Day, particularly so for the north, and we run through and it turns very stormy indeed, with low pressure diving down the North Sea there on the 3rd of January, but winds are in from the north as well, so a real blast of cold air there very briefly before more severe gales rattle in from the west by the 6th. That looks a very extremely stormy run there on Ensemble member number 17. Number 18 has high pressure over the country, and as we run on New Year's Day, as we run through the first week of January, that high pressure is maintained, keeping it dry, frosty and cold. True winter is to the east and southeast of Europe. Number 19, again, high pressure close to the country, possibly hinting that it's trying to get up towards the North Atlantic and the Iceland and Greenland area by the end of the run. So if we could run on a little bit further than that, we probably would turn the winds into the north and turn it cold. But again, true Arctic winter is in the east and southeast of Europe. And then finally, Ensemble member number 20. That one looks stormy for New Year's Day as well. And then beyond that, it's a cyclonic northwesterly through the first week of January, which could bring wintry showers to the north, but it's very unsettled with strong winds. So that's how the GFS ensembles are looking. Again, nothing desperately wintry showing up, except a couple of members which are quite cold. The idea for the first week of January seems to be either between anticyclonic and dry, with chance of frost and fog, or potentially quite stormy and unsettled. And some of those stormier runs are actually quite cold as well, with a northwest-southeast trajectory to jet stream bringing in, particularly for the north, the risk of a bit of cold zonality. But nothing truly blocked, nothing truly wintry, except for a couple of members. It looks like most of the proper Arctic cold through to the first week of January is remaining down in the east and the southeast of Europe. We will continue to monitor, see whether there's any change on that general idea. Right, that's all for now. Check out 5 Day Forecast if you haven't yet done so. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.